Balls are back.
Yeah, they had us the first half, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, could be Wayne!
I think I got my swagger back. Oh!
I love it, baby!
Them orange britches. Something about them orange britches.
Tennessee wins! Brought us by Tennessee, Jawan Jennings. Jennings makes the catch.
Ball hit high in the air into right field. Going back is Sayre, and Tennessee can say hello, win column. A grand slam in the bottom of the ninth. You can't draw it up any better.
We just won a basketball game, and we're very happy right now. I made up my mind. I don't expect to ever look back. I'm going to stay at the University of Tennessee.
Reddit did to do, and welcome into more important issues. It is Sunday, August 7th. Football is back. I won't go too much into that. I'm not talking Hall of Fame game. That's my most important. So I'll save that. I'm gonna put that one away. We've decided fantasy order in mine and Landon's fantasy league. Thought maybe that wouldn't happen due to rain. The race got started a little late. It's good to be back with you guys. We are.
Yeah, what was your pick in the draft?
I'm like 8th or 7th.
Okay.
I can't remember exactly. I'm towards the bottom. 8th. I'm 8th. So, not too bad. At least I get it back, coming back in the snake draft. So that's good. It is. I did a fan. We've got one coming up. Obviously, it's that time of year. It's perfect. I love it. You're busy, but because you want to be busy. We're sitting here planning out our Saturdays. Me and Emily this past weekend, and I'm like, yeah, we'll be in Knoxville that weekend. It's a away game, but that means we'll just be on the couch from 7:30 because we'll be watching soccer until Pac-12 after dark ends at God knows what time. I'm fired up to be busy. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, what is there really to map out as far as Saturdays go?
That's what I'm like. It's football, but you're doing something.
Okay. So it involves football. Okay, I thought I thought there was some weddings involved. I was about to do like Caleb.
We do have one wedding involved. We do have one wedding. It is the UT Martin game, which does stink because it's homecoming, but got friends coming into town for homecoming, coming back, so I did get to get my tickets away to someone that wants them, and we'll go to the game. So that's nice at least.
Who's getting married?
Some of Emily's friends.
Yeah, they shouldn't be friends anymore.
You want Ravens friends to get married on the Alabama game?
Yeah, I'm not going.
Which let's be clear, I didn't go to Pitt last year. I didn't go to a wedding last year because of Pitt. So if it was anything bigger, no offense to UT Martin, sorry. Actually, offense taken. The wedding's in Charleston. We go to Charleston over to the UT Martin game. So take offense to that.
But if it was Florida, would you still go?
Absolutely not.
Okay. There we go. That's all we need.
Absolutely not. We've got a good position preview. I'm also excited about some NIL talk. We're trying to get a better understanding, and so we're going to get someone on here who is involved with NIL, who has a better understanding, and I'm excited for this guest. We're going to try to get her to dumb it down for us. I know she's much smarter than us, so see if she can get it down to our reading level, which is about like 3rd or 4th grade. See if we can get it down there, and maybe some of you guys can catch it in between. So that's good.
Yeah, it's probably fourth grade, like on everything else, but NIL, it's definitely probably like 1st grade.
Oh, I'd go lower than that. Yeah, for sure.
Probably, yeah.
For sure. Then if you guys got any questions, drop them in the chat. I'm on Twitter. I'm sure Landon's on Twitter here. We're getting your comments from Facebook. And you want to thank you guys for being in on a Sunday. Before we hop into the show, make sure you guys go follow us. If you're not on Twitter, like us on Facebook. We do have a YouTube page. We have Instagram. Make sure you go check that out, as well as on your podcast, or Spotify, Google Play, Apple iTunes, whatever it is, we're there. Landon won't let me do the OnlyFans yet, so we're getting there for you guys. But make sure you like us on everything else, and we're a good follow. I know I'm not objective to that, but we're a good follow. Do it.
Yeah, that video that we tweeted out today or posted on Instagram and Facebook as well. Man, that got me going.
Dude, the James Wilhoit, and I cut
Long
that. I mean, I
punch.
cut that. Cut that doesn't sound right because I didn't do any editing. Just clipped that part of it, and I was like, I got to leave in this whole celebration after all the way up until kickoff, and then like the lead up. Like you need it all involved.
I saw one person's comment, and it was like I thought the same thing. It was like, that's a walk off. He was literally to the sidelines as soon as he kicked it.
Dude, it's amazing how it must have felt so good. Maybe one day we'll get James Wilhoit on here and talk about it, but it must have felt perfect off his foot because he knew the.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I'm excited for tomorrow's too. And speaking of comments on there, someone mentioned I wish we could get some of these Florida videos in HD. And while I 100% agree, I would rather now than when I wasn't alive or barely alive. Or obviously I was older. I remember that kick. But the one for tomorrow, I'm really excited for. Talk about bad quality video, just because of the era it happened in. But it's one of those games that I'll watch, and it's like, this is why I'm a Tennessee fan. Like, I remember we had this DVD at our house, and we would watch it all the time. The recap of the '91 season, and so like that's how I remember a lot of Tennessee football. So I'm excited about it. Like that stuff makes me so nostalgic, and it gets me fired up. It does.
Yeah, what's a DVD? I remember watching Fat Albert, when that movie came out, and they're making fun of they're like, oh, we're out on Divida. What's Divida? And now it's like kids that are born out, like they have no clue what DVD is.
That's a good point. I probably went over some listeners' heads. That's a good point. I'm sorry for that. I apologize. If you didn't gift your dad a season recap DVD, I hate that for you because it always made my dad very happy. So it was an easy gift that we picked up.
Yeah, maybe not recently.
Maybe not, but there's probably he's like me. He's such a Tennessee fan. It's you kind of enjoy this. Like somehow you do find enjoyment in the miserable times. Like somehow.
Yeah, that's true.
Also, this year I'm gonna keep self-promoting. This year's I was thinking about it as season tickets rolled in this week. I don't know if you checked your account just to make sure they hit. This will be 50th year that my family has sat in the same seats. So that's pretty cool.
Oh,
50 years. So I think we're going to get.
How are we going to celebrate?
I think me and my brothers, I think I'm going to try to get some shirts made for my brothers. That would be really cool.
If we start winning, though, you got to wear them every time.
No, that's 100% fine. I think. I know there's a lot of people like me that they've had season tickets. There's a lot of people that have them longer. So I think there's a lot of people celebrating that mark. But I think it's really cool. This is going to sound like a lot of people are like really stupid. A lot of things that that have been my family's that I love. It's the season tickets are my favorite. Like if it's one thing I had to choose, it's the season tickets for sure.
Yeah.
So
I love
whatever. It's why I have a podcast talking about Tennessee sports. Like that's just how much I love them. So, well, let's jump right into football. I know people. That's why they came. Talk because it's football season. Fall camp is going. Gospel music playing at fall camp today.
Dude, I love that.
No Sundays off. You think there was some Aretha Franklin in there?
I hope there's like some Sister Act. Man, he taught me how to wash, to wash.
Maybe you need to make the Sunday playlist.
Dude, heaters only.
You should make a Sunday playlist.
I'll say this, going to Carson Newman, I went to a lot of churches, so I probably have a lot of, like, you play it, I probably heard it somewhere.
Better than me. I'm like the white gospel music. That's like very, first two choruses, and then it's over. That's all I've got.
I can only imagine.
Oh, dude. Yes. I was listening to the radio because for some reason the aux cord in Emily's car wasn't working this morning, and there was some heater early 2000s like church music on the radio this morning. I was like, oh yeah, this takes me back. Yeah. This takes me back. I love it.
Yeah, let's get in position preview real quick. Offensive line. I think one thing that really jumps out to you about this offensive line is experience. I think the four guys that should be your starters going into this season for sure, returning from last year, is Jerome Carvin, Cooper Mays, Javonte Spraggins, and Darnell Wright. And I think they've combined for 51 starts last season. So, you got a lot of experience. I think you got some talent. I think Darnell Wright could really I think this is going back to last week, we talked about money seasons with Theo Jackson and Jalen McCullough. This is absolutely money season for Darnell Wright as well.
Yeah, I think that's the case for a lot of players. But yeah, I 100% agree.
I mean, he has the talent to be like a first round draft pick. Can he play like it?
Yeah, can he play like that? That's what I want to know.
And then the other questions that I have is like, number one, who's going to play left tackle? Is it Gerald Mincey, who probably has, the most talent out of the rest of the people in the running for it? But can he go out there and do it? J.J. Crawford's another one. Dane Davis, another guy. Those three guys have combined for what, like 3 or 4 starts. So
I didn't even notice that many. That is a good thing. The fifth guy, you talked about the experience, the returning 4 starters. The kind of, you're not throwing in a guy that hadn't played either in your fifth role. So I didn't realize it was 3 or 4 starts, but they played a lot last season.
Yeah. Well, so this is like total in their career starts.
Yeah, I mean, you saw some Dane Davis. Was that early? How many games? He was waiting on an injury, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Who was that for? I don't even know.
Well, Ollie Lane played a lot as well because Cooper Mays got hurt. Carvin went over. I think Cade dealt with some injuries.
Cade did. I think it was. I don't think he missed a game though. Did he? I don't think Cade missed a game last year.
I don't know. Dane Davis did play
game.
some.
Yeah.
And then Ollie Lane, also played a majority of the season with Cooper Mays being hurt. So, I think you have some talent. You have some depth. I just mentioned Ollie Lane, who played a lot last year, will probably be that swing guy wherever you need somebody. The offensive line just needs to stay healthy. I think they'll be fine. Giving up 44 sacks last season is definitely not ideal. I think they should be better. I just worry about that left tackle spot because that is, the blind side of your quarterback. So that, in the NFL, that's going to be your highest paid player, most valuable player on that offensive line. So it worries me a little bit, but I think this offensive line should be better. I think having another year in this offense really helps them, and that experience, you can't buy experience.
For sure. And I think I feel better that the offensive line knows who their guy is back there. I think that helps too. I know that it's not like all the sacks came early on in the season. I'm not saying that, but I think having a full spring, they're going to have a full fall camp with Hendon Hooker. I think that does help them. It certainly doesn't hurt them. I guess I should say that. I mean, that it's certainly better. It's more of a good thing than bad thing. So I think that helps the offensive line maybe find a little bit more rhythm. And then I listened to Locked On Vols. I think it was their Thursday edition with Eric Kane. Shout out, friend of the pod. He had Ramon Foster on, kind of talking about Tennessee, and he said he just thinks this offensive line kind of sees what the offense can be, and it's on them. It's time for them to step up, and he feels good about where they're at. And listen, that was enough to get me fired up. I don't know, maybe he has a little bit of orange bias too, but
orange goggles, yeah,
maybe a little bit. The guy just played there a few years, no big deal. But yeah, I think I see what he's saying, and then I like it's the experience. There's no substitute for that.
Yeah, and I like what you said going into, having a full off season, knowing who your guy is back there. I mean, you got to know when Hendon Hooker's back there, the play's never over. So even if you get beat, you got to still go full speed. And I think there's got to, you got to get to know his tendencies. And it seems like there should be more comfortability around this offense, knowing Hendon Hooker is back there and you're returning all those offensive linemen.
For sure, and even to that point of Hendon Hooker, can sometimes he hides some offensive line issues, I think. But also, I'd like to go back. How many of those sacks were he had a lot of time trying to make plays kind of out of nothing? Is that a ball you throw out of bounds? Is that a ball you get rid of? Or things like that? Again, I know not even close to all the sacks were for that reason. But are there areas that Hendon Hooker could about the offensive line statistically? I'm sure there's a couple plays that would be the case.
Yeah, and how many of those sacks were, I know the running backs didn't do a great job in pass pro last season. That was
Yeah.
obvious. How many came from that? How many came from the injuries that Tennessee had? If Cooper Mays is
Right.
healthy, if Cade Mays is healthy, what does that sack count look like? I think it's probably a little different, but they're going to miss Cade Mays last year. I think that's obvious, but I think you should feel pretty confident going into the season with this offensive line. And
Mhm.
hey, somebody's got to win the left tackle job.
Yeah, we'll see who it is come September 1st, and I think we talked about the pass game a lot. Obviously, the run game's very, very important too. Winning the line of scrimmage. I mean, you've heard it and you'll hear it for the end of time. The game is won in the trenches, and it's going to be. I mean, playing in the SEC, you're going to face high quality NFL talent, especially edge rushers, but defensive lines, or linebackers, often. Like it's not a couple of times a year. It's how many 8 games. Then you include Pitt in that, who's a powerful. Like you're playing a lot of quality guys. So being aggressive and it's a lot on you to create plays in the run game. I mean that falls a lot on the offensive line. You can't let the play die at the line of scrimmage. So are you gonna win some of those battles in the trenches? I think that's a question mark, but I do feel better about this offensive line than I did last year.
Yeah, 100%. I think you feel really comfortable going into it with, if you can stay healthy. I know they probably dealt with a little bumps and bruises as fall camp gets going. They'll have their first scrimmage, I think, on Tuesday.
Yes.
So that'll be interesting to see kind of what comes of it. I think even the defensive linemen were wearing, knee braces. So, it looks like they're kind of taking it easy on some of these guys and making sure they're healthy going into the season, which, hey, I'm all for it. Let's be healthy. Be healthy.
I mean, I'd be interested to kind of hear the approach to fall camp because obviously you want to kind of get back into the swing of things and you want those physical practices. But the fact of the matter is, you're not a. We've talked about the depth seems better at certain positions, but when you look at scholarship players, you're still really slim.
Yeah.
So I would be
100%.
interested to see what what the map of fall camp looks like. Make sure you try to keep as many guys healthy as possible. And you're still trying to bring some guys back from injury too.
Yeah, and who who gets some more reps this season? Do any of the freshmen kind of get involved? Brian Grant, Mo Clipper, Addison Nichols has been here in the spring. I think he's probably the most far along offensive
Well, and
lineman. So
yeah, you
does
talked
he
about
get
the size
any run?
for sure. I think if I'd pick one, it'd be Addison Nichols. Just again, that's not. I think you find out more when you see some of these scrimmages and hear about how they look in that. You're just talking about some of these guys that don't have a ton of playing time, but there is a lot of talent there. I mean, Addison Nichols, there's no doubt that he has the size and the talent to be probably a guy that's an impact player his freshman year.
Yep. And then Jackson Lampley, another guy, Kingston Harris, R.J. Perry, a guy that came in was super athletic and could have played offensive or defense, but found his home on the offensive line, but hasn't made an impact at this point. So, can any of those guys? Who's the other one? There was a guy from Pearl Cone. God, I can't think of his name. Parker. William Parker. That sounds right.
Yes.
He's another guy that I'd like to, see in full pads. I know he came in, pretty big, so see kind of what his body's like and see if he can make an impact as well. But yeah, I like what we have. Like the depth, there's just more bodies, more experience behind those starters. So I'm pretty excited with the offensive line. Now, it seems like everything's just kind of put together for the offense, and that just kind of worries me. I don't know why. It's just the Tennessee in me.
If it makes you feel better, I think there's still a lot of questions about the O-line. If you need a question, like if that's what makes you feel better, that it does seem complete. I think there are a lot of questions about the offensive line and running back. So I think maybe that if that can ease your mind about this offense in terms of maybe we're not overhyping them too much. I think there are some questions there. So that can be a good sign.
Yeah, maybe that left tackle spot is still just popping out to me. It's just like, is that going to be your Achilles heel?
That would really suck, and it would really suck if you were looking at this offensive line as a whole and you just can't find the right guy to plug in there.
Yeah.
Is there anybody that you could see moving there? We've got Ollie Lane, a guy that's playing great at guard, and we can't find a left tackle. Is there anyone you see moving if you have to plug guys in places?
I don't know. I do want to see guys running down the field like an Ollie Lane when Tyron Evans was taking it to the house against Missouri. I think that's pretty legendary. If you want to see like offensive linemen don't get any credit, you want to get credit, it's offensive linemen celebrating. That's when you get credit.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Nothing's better than a big guy celebration. Absolutely nothing.
I love that they've kind of added in like the normal thing is to lift up whoever is scoring. And I think that's another good way.
It's a good way to get the offensive
on the action.
Linemen. Yeah, they're really involved in the celebration. It's way more than a high five.
Yeah, get that camera time, baby.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
well, let's keep going into the fall, and we're going to talk about some of the most important games this fall. I'm kind of curious where I'll let you start because I am curious where your most important games fall, or if they're kind of. I mean, I think there are a bunch spread out the schedule, but I'm curious which direction you took if you just all encompassed it.
yeah, I think Florida is an easy one for me just because like this should be the year to knock off Florida again. So I definitely think that's the most important. It's at home. You got everything kind of going for you. They're down. They got a new coach, so they're breaking in kind of a new quarterback. So I'm interested to see that. But I think the second one for me is not even a conference game, and I think most of it is because of where it falls, and that's Pitt. Pitt's away. Again, new quarterback, new OC at Pitt. It is at Pitt, but I just think that's a good gauge of where Tennessee's at that second game of the season. So that's why it would probably be number 2 for me.
Yeah, and I think that would go the same direction with that, just because I think I could put Pitt back a little bit farther. Maybe I could maybe go 3, just because in the game obviously doesn't matter, but it does if you're talking about finishing within a certain amount of wins. That's one that you got to be able to get. So I think it depends on kind of your outlook on the season and where you are looking for Tennessee to be impactful, where they should grow. And I think that could vary. The one I would put it behind is maybe Kentucky, if I was to.
Yeah, and that would probably be 3 for me, just because, again, we talk about Tennessee, Kentucky. The fact of the matter is they're a program that's on the come up. They've won the 10 games, even though they don't have the schedule that Tennessee does. I get it. But every game since, I guess the 1-2 years ago wasn't really close, but it should have been. So I just think it's a game that should be a really good game. You got 2 quarterbacks going at it, but you just beat Kentucky and Neyland. That's what you do. That's Tennessee.
Well, and I would almost I think Kentucky's gonna be a good football team. I would almost take out, and this might sound like a cop people. That's fine. Listen, whatever. But I would almost say Kentucky, Missouri, and South Carolina are also important because I think if Tennessee is a program that wants to take a next step, I think you have to cement yourselves ahead of those teams. You have to cement yourself ahead of Tennessee or Kentucky, South Carolina, and Missouri. Teams that you haven't been able to do that for lately. And if you want to cement yourself, you don't do it this year, but you have to win this year to be able to do it in the future. So yeah, it's pretty much every SEC East game, surprise, is very, very important and very high up on that list that I think you have to win this year.
Yeah, and that revenge of getting back, like they think they can win in Elon now because of that 2020 season. So I'd like to nip that in the bud a little bit with, beating the brakes off them that at home. That'd be fun.
Definitely.
And I do think Georgia and Alabama. Oh, I do think Georgia and Alabama are also really important, not because of the rivalry, but I do think that is another gauge of where this program is at.
Yeah, absolutely. This season's obviously very important for Josh Heupel. Everything kind of looks right on the offense like we just discussed. So there's going to be a lot of very important games. I'm sure we'll talk some more about that. But we're going to go ahead and move on and talk some NIL. We're very excited to get on a special guest. She is a journalism and media student at Tennessee currently. She's worked a few internships in sports media, but most recently with the East and West Shrine All-Star Game, where former Vol and now Las Vegas Raider Matthew Butler played. She's been active with NIL across campus. Ellie Mae, thank you so much for hopping on. We really appreciate it.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm excited. I'm in my apartment, so if you hear like random cars go by, it's all good. Just
Okay.
it's really noisy. I'm sorry. Just look at me and.
Yeah, you're good. We roll with the punches. We have
it.
dogs in the background. It happens. We're good.
Yeah, it's all good.
Awesome. So yeah, I kind of want to start like what really is NIL. So
Perfect.
There's a few different options now. You can say we have this whole era for student athletes, but at the end of the day, it's so everyone now has that EA Sports game back. I'm joking, but you could say, the NCAA wanted to make some moral decision to allow student athletes to kind of deserve their name, image, and likeness, whatever you want to say. It started or caused it, it's here, and it's an open marketplace. So with that, being said, you're going to have a choice now to support it and how you engage with it. Just like you have that choice in a free economy to kind of pick the best barbecue place you like.
Yeah. So I'm interested with that. There's all these like different things kind of popping up to give money to, and not to seem like an old man, but it is kind of exhausting a little bit, in a way where it's just like, what's the right thing to give money to? I guess is my question to that. Do you kind of have a answer? I mean, there's like the baseball thing. There's a new thing with Josh Dobbs. There is, the football player one. There's the volunteer club. So there's just different things out there. I mean, what is the best way to, I guess, give money to these athletes for NIL?
Yeah, so I'm young, so I get it. But I come from some old school values. So I have family born half in South Georgia, some up here in Davidson, Sumner County, Bristol area. So I get a lot of old school stuff from them. That's where a lot of my values are. But one thing like that I keep in mind with NIL when I'm talking about it, my papa told me is, and I take it with me everywhere, but when you go into get barbecue in town, don't look at the signs and the advertising for it. You go in, you ask someone, what's the best barbecue in town? And when you get there, you then ask the waiter, what's the best on the menu? So that's kind of how it works in a way, I guess, to find the best of anything. I like to think that's still how things work, but, times are changing. So you can ask around and find out. There are many NIL models for Tennessee fans, in particular, that you can pick from. I personally have spent time reading and learning from a journalism model about NIL, and I'm for everything that allows the athletes to be put first and allows them to meet long-term development in the best way. But each individual athlete is different, and so it should be cared for uniquely. Vol means all. So I support any and every NIL model that is positive for Tennessee athletes in particular at every sport. Some examples like for Tennessee fans, I guess, you can invest directly. You can choose your investment and you can impact a student athlete's life. Before, you could just kind of, buy your Tennessee gear and a ticket and cheer loud at the game and be a ball fan. But now there are levels here to do so much more.
Okay, and so that's I love that they're getting all those opportunities. I'm with you 100% on anything that can help them meet personal goals, can enrich their experiences, all for 100%. And there have been a lot of questions about it and some things that, maybe people don't have a great understanding, and that's because it's a year old. It's a baby
Yeah.
still. It's in its infancy. But what I'm kind of most curious about, because I think we're seeing it pop up and it's more prevalent, is collectives. And so I guess my question is kind of how did they come about? What do they do? What are their goals? And what do they do for student athletes? If you can kind of encompass that all in one, or you can go on it question by question, however.
Yeah, I can give you it all. Just based off of what I've read and done. So you can join a group. You mentioned Bridge. So you have Bridgman Group and Friends of Baseball that serve as agents to help connect with Profit. And they're both Tennessee alums and value, their relationships to help the Tennessee athletes earn. And I know a lot of friends that do both of these models, and they've loved working with these guys. I hear wonderful things about this group, and they work with local stores and other brands across the area, as well as nationwide. Another one you can join are the Aaron Murray. He runs it. He started it up with Georgia, I want to say. It's called the Players Lounge, and I love this, and I love it for the true fans. It's a way to kind of socially interact with these guys on a personal level from anywhere in the country or the world. Soldiers overseas, anyone, any age can log in and participate one-on-one with these guys. So the Players Lounge, it's an SEC focused, and many guys have seen huge payouts with this across the SEC. And it just helps build the fan base for these guys directly as they look at long-term pro careers, and you can just engage right with them. It's the Players Lounge for Tennessee, I want to say, is called the Smoky Mountain Club. They have NFTs and other exclusive online content that are unique. Investments like Josh Dobbs, he's a big backer here. Aaron Murray, like I mentioned before, just two SEC guys, two greats that are in this model for Tennessee and for all the SEC schools.
So would that be considered a collective as well?
I'm not going to answer on that because I'm not sure. I want to say for Tennessee, I think the Smoky Mountain Club. The Smoky Mountain Club is a collective, but I'm not sure. There are multiple. There's so many different options.
Is that taken away from another collective, I guess, is my question? Or are we just looking at it? I mean, yes, like we're looking at it from the athletes. They're making the money. Cool. Great. But does it take away a little bit from that, On3 Sports release that top 10 collectives? Does having all these other things kind of take away from that one?
No, not as a donor. Okay. No, it shouldn't. Depending on the collective, the university NIL director has a website set up where you or your company can directly link to engage with no middleman per se, or you can partner up with a ball in any sport or a lady ball, and that's with the university's NIL director website. The NIL director at Tennessee is listed on the athletics page of the university website. If anybody's looking to find that, I know that for a fact. Okay. You can also give to the Tennessee Fund as a donor to support, the efforts of the university, and the Tennessee Fund goes directly to the university athletics. Okay. So collectives are kind of used, I guess, as you would say, a middleman, depending on the collective.
And so Landon mentioned how there's you've seen, I don't know how many Tennessee collectives pop up, and some are sport specific. Some don't seem to be. are athletes, when they join these or when they're represented, if represented is the right word, are they exclusive to one? Are they involved with multiple? How are they kind of navigating where a lot of them are probably kind of taking as many opportunities as they can? Are they stuck to kind of one, or is there multiple they can be involved with?
I'm not exactly sure because I am not an athlete myself. So that's a good question for one of them. But one thing I saw on a recent On3 NIL article published was they had found there was a lot of lack of representation going on. So you kind of need an agent. And they're agents for a reason. Find a good one, start your brand building and earning with proper representation. If you're a college athlete, you know, at any level, you have the potential to turn pro. There are long-term implications to NIL that matter, and an agent is just preparing you to handle those. I follow some really good ones actually. Nicole Lynn and Emily Stalker, two wonderful females that are amazing at the market. There are others, so no athlete, in my opinion, should do any NIL negotiations without an agent or somebody that they trust. That's just my opinion. With taxes and a long-term investment is now at play, and being an adult in college with all that going on as an athlete especially, you need somebody there.
And do collectives support kind of that reach, or is it before you kind of reach going to that stage, there should be a representation involved? So when the athlete is a part of the collective, are they getting some representation in a sense?
Depending on the collective.
Okay.
It's depending on the collective.
Okay.
Gotcha. Well, and I don't know if Landon's ready to move on from collective or not. I do have some kind of just arching NIL questions, but I don't want to get ahead.
No, that's fine. Yeah, you're good. I'm good. I just don't I just want to understand more. So I'm kind of in that, I'm just here to listen and learn. And if I have a question, I'll ask one.
All right. I just so NIL is obviously the kind of really interesting, and I guess this does go back to collectives because a lot of coaches, most famously right now, Nick Kiffin and Kirby Smart in the SEC, they're talking about how it's bad for recruiting, which makes it bad for the game, etc. But they should have these opportunities, and collectives are separate from the athletic department totally. Is there a way that they're ever going to manage that? I've seen the NCAA trying to define what a donor is, and they shouldn't be able to use NIL to entice student athletes. Could you see collectives going away? Are they protected from that? Will they be well funded if donors per se aren't involved, or how will that kind of work in the overall NIL scape as we move forward? Because like I said, it's just in year one. There's going to be more rules made, I assume.
I'm sorry, you cut out in the last 3 sentences. Could you say that one more time?
I
have
hope
my
I picked on the
AirPods.
right.
No, you're fine.
So I'm just curious, can these collectives, if the NCAA is able to define clearly what a donor is, how will these how are they, I guess, funded is kind of my question. Will donors be able to still support them and where they support the students? Because that seems to be the most famous model is collectives.
Yeah. So, you can do a lot of different things, but after testing out kind of the 1951 club model with Spire and with compliance and everything, in the early stages, you now have that volunteer club that allows you to buy a membership, kind of like a message board account, but bigger. And then with that, you get what they put out as events or meet and greets. So some say you can meet and greet these guys anywhere really if you're lucky enough, but one thing with Spire it's done with the Vol Club is exclusive to members. Sometimes they open it up to everyone. I think the kickoff they had ended up being opened up to everyone, but you pay the Vol Club monthly and they take in the donations to give back to athletes that serve in fan events and other things they host. They also connect to businesses in Knoxville with athletes to offer some sort of payout for social post or engagement. They did a burger for one of the baseball players and a football player and stuff like that. But not all of them are men, because the ladies first I've seen with them, but you have another boost called the Lady Boost. It's her club, which is a group that works like Spire. So they do just the money goes to the ladies. They sign with them exclusively. They want to build what they can offer lady sports. But I'm a huge fan of that model per se. But many people don't know, but women's sports lead the way in NIL right now. So some models have women athletes. Yeah, it's really cool because you don't see it very often, and for people to, respect it now, I think that personally is amazing. But some models have women athletes earning as top earners. So you can meet and greet and engage with these lady balls and support them through merch sales at Orange Mountain Design exclusively. I love that. I love the way the group stepped up to offer our lady ball athletes just all their support.
So I know you're. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
So you've dealt with a lot of these athletes. You know them personally.
Mm-hmm.
What when they're getting into NIL, what are they looking for a dollar amount to make? Are they looking for just opportunities to make money?
Yeah, it depends on the athlete, really. A lot of these guys, they're in college and they're at the university they are for one thing, and that's either for a degree and to play the sport that they love. That's for most of them. Others are, it could change. They could go pro. So you don't really know for them. So this is all new to them as well. They're trying to navigate it. That's why I mentioned earlier, an agent or somebody you trust is really, really helpful during this process. So it just kind of depends on who you talk to, I guess you could say.
Well, I think that's an interesting question too. I mean, even more so than making money right now is NIL. You talked about future of personal gain, professional gain, whatever it may be. Do you see a way that these athletes that may not make it at the next level, that they're going to be involved with, whether it be directly with some of these NIL collectives like Aaron Murray is, or with some of the businesses that they're currently working with as an athlete, that could open doors for personal opportunity? Is that something that's been floated kind of out there? Is that something that's being talked about?
One thing I get a lot of questions about myself. I'm not sure about that, but it's with recruiting. And, people want to talk about certain recruiting certain recruits, trying to use it. The debate will go on. The recruiting war will always be fought about something. And a collective kind of is the target of lawmakers and, people around college athletics right now. Tommy Tuberville, like him or not, just, took his experience to Capitol Hill with this topic exactly, and kind of with the whole recruiting and SEC media days. I think just about every coach agreed that boosters and NIL are issues they are facing. I don't know how that will play out, but boosters have always given to programs to help give a competitive edge per se for their school. That's why there are boosters. I mean, I stick with what the coaches are doing. The hardcore recruiting, building their programs ethically. It'll all come out in the wash, and I just leave it at that.
That's all you can do. Hey, Caleb,
Right.
I love the you threw a shot at Aaron Murray about him not making it to the pros.
That wasn't intentional. That wasn't intentional.
He's a great guy. He has some good values. I support Aaron.
He seems to be doing good now, and I think that too. Maybe some people, especially the people that only want to talk about the dollar amount that Landon mentioned, they miss that. And I love Josh Heupel said it on a podcast back in the spring. He talked about he's seen a lot of players kind of own their brand now, whereas when you're not making money, when you're not seeing, if you do something that's in the news that's bad, or do something on the field that people don't like, it doesn't really affect you immediately. You don't see that unless you're making money, unless you have partnerships with people that you have to respect. So I think that is interesting, and I'm curious to see in the next probably, here's is probably where you see it, where some of these guys look back and they say, oh, that relationship I might not have made the most money from the NIL deal, but it also set me up for professional success outside of football, basketball, whatever it may be. That set me up for success. So that's the side I'm curious to see come out, where how can you hate NIL? Because I know it's going to happen. How can you hate it when that happens? When that's what college is for.
Yeah, actually, I think it was back when all NIL first started coming out in discussions. I was working with Score Atlanta, and it's a sports marketing company that serves for all of Georgia sports. And we're working to get ready for a like CBS crew to come in and film the Corky Cal Kickoff Classic. And it was talked about that the NIL was being opened up. And so one of the first things said from a top quarterback trainer in Atlanta, actually, he ended up tweeting it. He tweeted it out there for all the kids. He said to get an LLC in your name now. Start protecting your image now. And at that time, I didn't fully understand kind of what he meant. But looking back at it now and learning about the whole model of NIL that's come to be, if you're an athlete, you've opened up a whole new platform to earn based off of your production on the field and off the field. So you're basically set up as an LLC, which means you need that protection, you need that agent, you need somebody that you trust that you can go to and talk about it and make sure that it's what you want to do and that you're not just getting caught up in the money. I think that's where it kind of goes. That's where some people see it going south and seeing it being a little negative just because they're not educated on it enough or whatever it may be.
Yeah, I think the kind of murky water there is with recruiting. And like you kind of mentioned this, like coaches are kind of staying out of it, kind of. But like, what does that look like to recruit? Are they going based off like, oh, we have all these collectives, all these opportunities, or is it like this is how much you can make? Like, what is from a recruiting standpoint? I know you did something with Jalen Smith and Ethan Davis and Sham Umarov.
Yeah, those are all good old Georgia boys.
Yeah, so
I
I'm
was
not
just going in there and talk to him a little bit about, what this next step is for them, what they're most excited about.
okay. So I
But
mean,
yeah.
like, what does that look like when, is there a meeting kind of with a collective while they're on campus, or like is that something separate? I just want to know from a recruiting standpoint, and you may not know this, but what does that look like?
From a recruit standpoint, just talking with some of my friends, best recruiting is the athletes and the power. That's what Coach Hype said. I have to quote him directly for that. Like, that was amazing. I like that a lot. It's all, at the end of the day, it's the athlete's decision. And a lot comes into play with choosing a school. I know for me personally, I had a lot of different decisions that came down, and Tennessee ended up being my number one. But just, the campus comes into play, the fan base, the environment that you're put into, that, something that they're going to be able to walk out of their dorm room, walk out of their apartment and say, I'm at home. And I think for a lot of recruits here, that's their number one reason that they came, is because they love the people, they love Knoxville, they love the city. Just, speaking with a few of them myself, that's everything they've told me. NIL really never ever came up until they were, they love it. They think it's amazing, but that's about it.
So there's not really like when they're on their visit, if they mention NIL, is it more of like, oh, well, here's our Tennessee collective, you can give them a call and they give you more information. Is that kind of what it would look like if a recruit did ask?
I don't work in the department directly, but
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I think that's the best way to do it, honestly. Coach Hype doesn't really get involved in any of that mess, and it's turned out well for him so far. But
Less stress for sure.
Yes, less stress for sure. But kind of guiding them, just the guidance and the power that it holds. That's really all that I see.
I do like his approach to it. He's kind of like, I think they should get paid. I mean, there's 100,000 people in the stands cheering them on. They absolutely should get paid for it. But it seems like he's kind of staying out of it as well. He's like, that's above my pay grade, I guess.
Yeah, the coaches are the ones doing the recruiting, in my opinion. They should be the ones recruiting those players, not a collective or, you know, any type of NIL thing like that. The coaches should be doing the hard work and, you know, getting the athletes learning and investing in their families and investing in their, you know, their day-to-day lives. And that's, in my opinion, what should, you know, get everything started. And what should make a player want to come, not somebody's NIL collective or how much money a collective's bringing in.
Right.
Awesome. I feel better about understanding NIL. I know and I'm sure there's going to be some weird things pop up. I'm very curious. You mentioned the NCAA game. I'm pumped for it. I think everybody that played that growing up. Do
I was
you know
playing it
how
last
that?
night. I was playing the old
Sorry.
one last night, actually. Yeah.
I want to know if there's gonna be some like Bill Belichick's that keep their name out of the game. Is it collectives handling that? Do they sign? How does that work? Are we gonna be missing some guys?
I'm not sure. That's an NCAA question. I have no idea for that. I just know what I've learned from reading and being involved in it myself.
Everybody gets $1. You know the NCAA isn't giving out money to be in their own game, so.
There's one more club that I really did want to talk about because we didn't talk
Yeah.
about them, but the Knoxville NIL club. I forgot they also do a model for you can join them to interact with players directly as well. But what's special about this one is it's actual Tennessee football players that come together and choose this group to help receive funds that support them as they study and practice ball at Tennessee. So I think they get slack for not being backed by Tennessee alums, but I'll say this is my opinion. It's not your place as a fan to judge or, you know, what the players want to do and use their own NIL. You either support it or you don't. And I know these guys personally care and are thankful for whatever they can get from everyone and that they have to offer. But I think some people forget that their lifestyle is not glamorous at all. It's a hard job to come and compete at the level they train and compete at. And so they need support and, you know, all of them matter, especially now entering with fall camp. And I see firsthand they're going through with some insane schedules that physically and mentally are draining them. So everything matters. And that's kind of what this group is focusing on, with it being directly ran by Knoxville, you know, Tennessee football players that came together.
So
And
is that just ran by them, or is it like it's just an outside company, or? Like
Yeah, so it was actual Tennessee football players came together and chose this group. So it's not really brought up in the media very much because they're getting started and the guys don't really have as much time on their hands to.
Is that the one where if you join this month, you give like 25 or more, you get a free Hendon Hooker jersey?
I would have.
I know we're not giving out free ads, but that's a pretty good. That's a pretty good deal.
That is a pretty good deal. If that's what it is, then that is a pretty good deal. I mean, I have no idea. I'd have to go in and look at that.
Trying to get a free jersey. That's it.
He just really wants a free jersey.
Yeah, come on, bring in the free jerseys, please.
I mean, if that's what they're doing, that's great.
Yeah, I do think that kind of
that should be done.
Is really cool. Like I saw the volunteer club stuff where they have like different shirts and hats that they give out to their members. I think that is just an easy like thank you.
Yeah.
And shouldn't be a lot of money. I just think it's you know, it's one thing to like, you know, it's really cool to like talk to these players and get stuff like that. I don't want to just give money just to like and not see anything out of it. So I think that is really cool that they are giving back a little bit for getting the subscriptions and stuff like that.
Yeah, I support all of it. Anything that's helping these guys and the rest of our athletics. The university has an NIL director and a Tennessee fund that serves on the website as well. But anything that can just help, honestly, would be amazing.
So what's kind of your end goal in this kind of new NIL world?
I'm just kind of, you know, just sticking to going to school, getting a degree, in journalism and mass media, more
Okay.
concentration on the sports side. But I don't really see myself playing a role in NIL. I love talking it. I support it. So if anybody has questions about it, I'm happy to answer, but not really.
So
Just
you're not running
playing.
your own collective here soon.
Oh no. I'm not running my own collective. I don't have half of what some of these collectives are doing.
Yeah.
But the time, especially, it's learning to manage that well.
Yeah. Well,
Absolutely.
anything else, Caleb?
No, that's it for me. Yeah, I'm sure down the road I might have to send you a text because it is a lot. I mean, look, it's clear Nick Saban doesn't understand it either, so I don't know why I should be expected to. So we'll, I'll get a couple pieces at a time, and then chew on that for a minute, and and then
Yeah.
ask some more.
I'm still learning and growing too. I've enjoyed learning from Spire, so for all and just growing in this space in general. So I'm a journalism major, just focused on that.
Awesome.
And that's it.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for hopping on.
Yeah. Thank you
Really
for having
appreciate it.
me.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Especially on a Sunday, but thank you again. That was awesome, and love learning what people can do for athletes. So thank you again, Ellie, and hope you have a great night.
Absolutely. I'll see y'all soon.
See ya.
Bye.
See ya. Want to thank Ellie again for taking out of her Sunday night. Come on, talking NIL. I know for a lot of people they don't understand it because I hear them talk and it sounds, I won't say the word, but I think that just finding the best way to support athletes, and because I think everyone obviously has a passion for Tennessee sports, so yeah, you should find the way that you want to support it. And I think even though there are a lot of collectives and there's a lot of questions about it's good that I think there's a good in that there's so many options, so much as like baseball only, football only. You can really, or lady vol basketball only, you can really support what you want to support directly.
Yeah, she did a really good job of kind of explaining that. Because that was kind of my biggest question is like, what is the best way to do that? And there's really, from what I got out of it, there's really not a best way. There's no roadmap to this.
I think I don't think there's any bad way. I think is how I would say it.
Yeah, 100%. Like if you see a deal like the one I mentioned about Hendon Hooker, and you think that's a great deal, do it.
Yeah.
You see a smash burger that Drew Beam has, hey, go buy one. So yeah, there's no roadmap to it, and I think everybody's still kind of learning with it. But yeah, if you like something, you're getting something back in return. Go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I kind of going off some stuff that's obviously still in question, and I am curious to see how because I think NIL had some like has innocence to it, I should say. Like me and you and some other people listen to the show that how do you support it kind of deal, and I think or what you do to support it. Maybe some of the question comes in like one company signing $8 million deals. Maybe that's not what a lot of people had in mind, but it's also just kind of what Ellie mentioned, being part of the free market. Like people do get to spend their money that way, but there is, I think for when you look at Tennessee, there's 85 scholarship players, 100 something players on the roster. That's just football. There's a lot of rooms for people like me and you to support where there isn't a market for those huge deals.
Yeah, and I think it is really cool that you have, obviously Hendon Hooker, Cedric Tillman, Drew Gilbert, Blade Tidwell, those guys, Ben Joyce, those guys are going to have their, deals. But it's the people that come on late. Like it was really cool it was kind of surreal when I was talking to Drew Beam's dad that, his son had a shirt at the ball shop. Or Alumni Hall. Like that's what makes it really cool. Like the guys or even the guys who aren't going to play, but they have a really good presence within the program and stuff like that. Grant Firkin kind of comes to mind there. Kind of getting his name out there, not necessarily much on the football field, but off the field, he's a big leader for NIL and stuff like that. So I like it from that perspective. Obviously you see guys, cement their name, kind of like Drew Beam did this past season, but also like, guys that necessarily aren't going to be your starting quarterback and stuff like that get opportunities to make money also.
No, absolutely, absolutely, and I think, like anything, you can find the negatives in NIL if you want, but I think we're going to look back in this stage of college football, and it may look a little bit like the Wild Wild West just because there are some insane numbers being tossed around and things like that. But the athletes aren't making school decisions solely based on NIL. It's good that every athlete has the opportunity to farther their personal and professional lives and make a little money while doing it. So I think it's going to be a great thing, and we'll see how all of it maintains throughout the next few years. But I think in all, it's going to be good. So
yeah, if the NCAA didn't want it to be the Wild Wild West, they should have made it.
Oh,
they should have made
the
some
thing.
rules.
It's all the a lot of people want to blame it on the players. They were never in the wrong of wanting to be paid.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, it's just absurd.
Or the collectives aren't at fault either. I mean, there was literally no rules to this, so it's like,
it's on the NCAA.
Oh my God, I can't believe somebody's making $8 million. The NCAA just kind of served it out there for them. You didn't think college football, like people are insane for college football. It was going to happen.
That's true. The NCAA sat on their butts while they thought they were going to win a case. They had no chance to win when you look at it, and it's their fault. They didn't prepare.
But I hope you do kind of, maybe, it isn't so green, I guess. Like Jordan Addison comes to mind, like his kind of deal with USC. Apparently that was the only reason he was going to USC was because of the, NIL deal he was getting. I don't know if that's true, but it seems like he's unhappy now. There were some things that was promised that haven't, came to light. So that's.
And I think
I think there's some shady people in it as well. So if you're an athlete, I think you got to be smart. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, definitely shady people in it. There's zero doubts about it.
Miami, definitely shady people.
Did we get any questions before the show? I did not.
I didn't see any.
Okay, so let's get on. We're moving, trucking right along here.
Hold on, I think we might have had a question. Who do you think will be the starting offense tackle opposite of Darnell Wright?
I don't. Crawford?
You think Crawford? Okay.
Mincy? I don't know. It's got to be one of those two, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I'm probably going to go with Mincy being, I think when they're in full pads today, I think when the scrimmage starts, I think he'll, maybe earn that spot. I think he's the most athletic out of the two. I think he's got the, college experience or the Power 5 experience to. I think he's got the intangibles to be a good left tackle. He's just got to put it all together.
Agreed. Is that the only one?
One more. Did you see where Logan Chambers hit a bomb?
Yeah, and it was a bomb.
It was a bomb. Good God.
Also, did you see the Little League World Series kid who hit an absolute bomb and had a mixture? He had the Drew Gilbert swag with the Jordan Beck just like hammer. I mean, it was beautifully well done of a bat flip. Just gorgeous.
Nice.
I'll have to send that video to you. It was awesome.
How dare the Tennessee Vols have fun and
have you watched any Little League World Series?
I used to watch it pretty often. I don't just love the rules, like the base running and stuff. I don't love it.
Or they can't lead off and stuff.
Yeah, it's just like it's very softball to me, and I'm for those who like played that way. It's just not baseball to me.
All right, Lane hates It's Little League World Series. You
No,
heard it here
I
first.
don't. I'll still watch it.
No,
I just hate that part of it. I would be more interested if they played regular baseball. And I get it, like, you're gonna have kids just steal all over the place, but
that team from Chicago ruined it for you. Have you
yeah,
watched that
probably.
documentary?
Uh-uh.
It is insane. It's just like, first off, I don't care. Like, whatever, put whatever team together you are. I mean, whatever. I don't care. But the things like the manager of this organization went through to get a team to the Little League World Series is like it's incredible. It's I mean, it's beyond insane. I'll have to send it to you. I can't remember the name of it.
And that's part of it too. Like, I mean, they do like the city, and then they get to like the regionals, and then they get the somehow get to the Little League World Series. I mean, it's like are these kids like actually on the same team?
They're supposed to be. They're supposed to be Little League teams.
Yeah, it's like these teams have got to be dominating their league.
Right.
I just don't see it. I don't know.
Who knows?
But yeah, I'm always like, I don't know who play like around here. Like, I don't see a lot of tournaments played like that.
I feel like the Tennessee teams come out of Middle Tennessee.
Yeah, you have to play, those rules through your whole league. So,
right.
I just don't see a lot around here. Maybe there are more, and I'm just.
Are you scouring Little League fields?
No, but I've just never heard of like.
Sounds like you watch a lot of Little League baseball.
Okay.
Landon doesn't have any children either, guys. This is why this is.
No,
I gotta quiz him on this.
No, I've never seen a tournament. Like, I used to run like baseball tournaments. Yeah, it wasn't Little League, but I've never heard of like, oh, this is Little League rules.
I don't understand it at all. So just believe what you say.
But those kids are good. I mean, dropping bombs, doing bat flips. That's awesome.
You do get some of the best sound bites out of the Little League World Series too.
Yeah,
like
that whole.
Like, I like to hit dingers.
Yeah, who your favorite player is, and somebody like I saw one kid today. I was watching, I think Tennessee, and they're like, your favorite athlete, and he said Michael Jordan. I was like, bro, how old are you?
His dad's favorite player. Actually, his dad. It was probably his grandfather's favorite player. They're that young now. We're talking to Joe.
Like,
he was like, Joe was born in like 2004 or something like that.
God, what a millennial!
No, he wouldn't even been. Yeah, that'd be about right. 2003.
Are we still millennials? What's the cutoff?
I'm pretty sure we're millennials. You're talking about Gen Z. We're millennials, I think.
So what
I think
is
it's like 96 or 97 is the cutoff for millennials.
Okay, what is Joe Gen Z?
I guess I don't know when it changes over. No, he would be Gen Z. I don't know what he'd be. I'll have to look it up.
I don't know what these are. I just know one of my favorite things is calling some old person a boomer.
Let's see. We are I think. Okay, so Gen Z was he'd be Gen Z. 97, 2012.
Oh, so we're Gen Z.
We're Gen Y.
No, we're not. We're Gen Y.
Which is millennials.
What's millennials?
Gen Y.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I also love that there's a generation that's 1883 to 1900 that's called the Lost Generation. What a terrible name. I mean,
the Lost Generation.
Brutal. Absolutely brutal. I'd like to know, I've never heard of some of these older ones. I think baby boomers, as far as I go back, there's a silent generation. What was that all about?
I don't know. I love the 1883. That reminds me of the show. So I'm thinking
they would be the lost generation, 1883 to 1900. That's a lot. Maybe that's why they're the lost generation.
I just don't know what happened to them.
Shout out to
somewhere west, right?
Exactly. We're going to get into our segments. Before we do that, I got to give a shout out once again to University Traditions, the most beautiful hats on this planet. Can't wait for the Hacker Cup, August 20th. If you're not signed up now, Eddie, I'm not talking trash about the Boomers, but yeah, you probably do know more about all ball athletics. I'm sorry if I said
What'd he
something
say?
wrong. He said this Boomer knows more about ball athletics than you ever will. He probably does. Good for him. Whatever. He's been a long while. He's seen more of it than me, so there's a good chance. But I don't know why you came at me after that. But maybe did I say something bad about the silent generation? I just want to know what happened.
Eddie, I know more than you. I'm just kidding. I probably don't. I'm gonna say it. Dude.
I don't understand that. Maybe it just felt harsh. I don't know. Those seem like harsh words.
It's because I enjoy calling old people boomers. I only enjoy like when an old person is just being old. I'll just say, okay, boomer. I've actually never called anybody that. I think I just like videos of.
I've never called. Yeah, I've never. First off, it sounds.
Like videos of people doing that.
I hate when people unironically call people Karens. I hate it. I'm like, did you just hear yourself say that? It's like.
Ugh. You don't like the Karen thing?
Not unironically. Like if they're like, "Shut up, Karen." Oh, I'm just like, no, that.
Or you're being a Karen.
Yeah, like if you say it not trying, like if you're saying it to offend somebody, like to make them mad, cringeworthy. If you're saying it to be funny, different story. Be ironic about it if you're gonna do it.
Yeah,
I don't like it. It's just, ugh. But maybe I will start saying boomer now. I don't know. Eddie's got me thinking.
Is Eddie still in here? Is he commented again?
He hadn't commented again.
Dang it, Eddie!
Wonder if he'd be. Maybe he's.
Don't just walk away. Don't just do a walk off or drive by.
Dude. Maybe he clicked it and clicked out.
Dang it, dude!
he hit me with an LOL. So I'll listen. You might have been being mean about it, but you laughed after it. So we'll move on.
Wait, his comment said LOL or?
No, after that. Now he's letting us know he's here. I do forget they're a little delayed. So
okay, yeah, that's true.
It might have affected it. Sorry, Eddie. I didn't mean to call you a Russian bot. They're just running around on Facebook. I gotta be careful. Most important, Hacker Cup. I'm excited. Most important.
I'm gonna say Logan
Eddie,
Chambers.
Let me one after Eddie. Season ticket holder since '83. Landon, I know it's not me holding the tickets, but what year is this for us?
It's 50 years.
It's 50 years, Eddie. 50 years. We're getting shirts made. No,
He said since '83.
Like I said, there's people that have been season ticket holders celebrating some nice anniversaries this year too, which is cool.
Here's the thing. We were born in '95. When we really we've always been Tennessee fans, but when we really started I guess paying attention. I shouldn't even say that. I don't even know what to call it. When we started it was real to us. Like it bothered us if we win or lost. I mean, have we been good since then? No. So who's more of a real fan? Right?
I was gonna say that. Listen, I could have let those season tickets go several years ago. And
we started this podcast in 2016. What have we done since then?
At the end of 2016.
Yeah.
Not even the good part of 2016.
Yeah, so no, that's really cool. Since 83.
83 is awesome. 83 is awesome. We'll get you a shirt made at 50. For you.
Slap that puppy.
That's a solid sign. That's not paper.
Yeah, it's metal.
It's metal.
It will cut you, dude. Yeah, Nick gave me that. They made some.
What the heck, Nick?
Yeah, dude. I'm in this new collective, so.
Oh my God! Here we go. Man's gonna be on OnlyFans running as a collective here soon.
Dude, I'm making.
Be careful. Make sure they're verified, guys. All right, most important of the week. What do you got?
Logan Chambers dropping that bomb. He gave them the league championship. He hit the go-ahead home run in the bottom of the eighth, 2-run shot. I think it's most important because I expect, like Logan Chambers, when he came in from junior college, I don't want to he had some high expectations. That Dave Van Horn, Tony Vitello spout, might have been about Logan Chambers. So for him hitting that bomb, I think that's really cool. That's somebody that they're going to lean on in this lineup next year, and hopefully he's able to carve out a spot somewhere. I mean,
right.
The good thing is Tennessee's got a ton of talent coming back, and I think you mentioned it. Tennessee's ranked number 2 in D1 baseball is way too early, top 25 next season. So got a lot of talent, but yeah, Logan Chambers in the offseason working on that swing. And there's just something about left-handed bombs being hit. I don't know what it is.
Aren't baseball scouts don't they just salivate over lefties? I mean, there's nothing like a lefty in the box.
Yeah. I don't know about hitting a pitcher for sure, 100%.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I don't know about the whole.
I feel like I've heard a lot about left-handed swings. A lot about left-handed hitters.
Dude, if you can push bunt from the left-hand side down the third baseline,
we're talking bombs. Get out of here. We only talk about bombs.
Hey, we can hit bombs. We can also play some small ball. It's a good thing about Tennessee baseball. We do it all, baby.
Yeah, but I don't cheer as hard for the bunts.
Unless Charlie Taylor does it.
Yeah, for sure. We need a bunt chant. That's what Tennessee, we talk about trying to set apart. Tennessee needs a bunt chant. When we lay down a nice bunt, you can only do it when they safely reach first. No outs, safely reach first. Not talking sack bunts.
Everybody bunt, 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 bunt.
Everybody bunts. You got to make another playlist.
Yeah.
We need that out of Lindsey Nelson.
Here, let's make a rule with the Tennessee baseball team. They can only use a gospel song as their walkout song.
Oh, I would like that for like one game. Sunday, any Sunday home game.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Any Sunday home
only
games.
Gospel music.
88.3 will be blasting in Lindsey Nelson. My first one, or my only one, excuse me, football's back. You're right. The right one. Premier League started this weekend. If you like waking up at 7:30 and watching live sports, do I have a league for you? Because yes, I did both that on Saturday. Actually, Saturday I woke up earlier because I went and played golf while Premier League was on. Sunday, this morning, woke up promptly 7:30. Game didn't start till 8. I misread the thing and watched some Premier League. It was wonderful. Football's back. Summer is over. I love it.
Yeah, I can't wait. I got the TV already set up to be spinning my.
You're gonna watch some EPL on it in the mornings.
No, I don't wake up that early. Absolutely not.
Harry Kane, man, you got to support Harry Kane. Oh,
he's got to win me more money. He's got to win me more money before I'm waking up and watching him.
Have you already quit on Harry Kane?
No, I'm still a huge fan. Huge fan.
You are a true Tottenham fan. I knew it.
You told me they suck, so why would I want to wake up early and watch them be terrible? Also, didn't Brighton ruin your parlay today?
They did, but good thing is I hate Manchester United, so win-win.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
but they should have won, right?
No, they played terrible the whole game.
But they were.
They were favored. Yes, they were favored.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Moving on to fails. I've got a fail. Eddie, you might like this one. Tennessee season tickets. I'm sorry. We need to go to paper. It needs to go back to paper. Did you see what the Las Vegas Raiders got?
What?
It was like a whole light up box. Like you opened it up. It was a box. I think there was music playing. I want a ticket flip book. Those can't be expensive to send out. My season tickets haven't gotten cheaper because you're doing them online. Now to send a ticket to someone, they have to have an All Vols account. It's just insane.
Oh, really? You can't just
Screenshots are not accepted. You have to have internet connection to get into the stadium now.
What
Your
in
phone
the-
better not die for sure because you won't have tickets.
Can you not put them
it
in your
sucks,
wallet?
man.
Like your Apple Wallet?
See, I feel like it said something about that, but I feel like it also mentioned which screenshots should work then if you can put it in your
Right.
wallet. But it said screenshots will not work.
Well, you can send them. You can send that. You can copy it from your wallet to a message, right? And then
Right,
they
but
can
I
put
think
it in
you
their wallet.
I think, but it said to transfer tickets. Maybe it's just to transfer tickets, and that's a weird terminology because you could always transfer tickets, technically speaking.
Gotcha.
But I don't know. It's just what the bottom line. What pisses me off is we don't get paper tickets anymore. I've got.
And why are we using Ticketmaster? Why are we just
I
selling
mean,
out Ticketmaster? Good God.
I've got
You
just
couldn't
about
find a
every
worse
Tennessee game
ticket company than
and more.
Ticketmaster.
Sure, for sure.
Yeah, I don't
100%.
get it.
Eddie, I hope you liked that one. That one's for you a little bit too.
How does season tickets go up and we don't get paper tickets?
I'd like to know.
Yeah, that's dumb. Whatever. I'll be there, I guess. But
I'll be there. I just want paper. That's the only thing I want. I'm not even mad about having to pay the donation now. I just want my paper tickets back. That's it.
let's start a
Sue me.
OnlyFans for tickets.
Yeah, actually, I have a lot. I bought my box out. I've got plenty. I can do it.
My Phil is Auburn quarterback TJ Finley was arrested for eluding Auburn PD after he failed to wear a helmet on a moped.
That's why he ran?
Yeah. And this is days after he announced an NIL partnership with Amazon. That's another thing I should have asked Ellie Mae is, when something like this happens, and I mean, there's probably different scenarios, but what does Amazon do? They're just like, it's a bad look.
I mean, why? I mean, I know probably why, but protect your image.
I mean, there wasn't a lot of moped sales on Amazon after that. I'll tell you that.
Please be smart. Good Lord. Oh.
Are you running? Most cops are just going to give you a citation, or they're just going to be like, dude, wear a helmet, you moron.
Auburn PD is probably going to do the latter.
You have a helmet. You literally wear one all the time. Just wear it.
Yeah, they need to go the Todd Kelly route and wear full pads on mopeds. That's the rule.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, poor guy.
Oh my gosh.
He's had a rough week.
I didn't know why. I didn't know the reasoning for it. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible. Whew. That's all I've got. That was all my fails.
That's all I got.
All most importance.
Guys, it's been fun. Joe's on a red eye right now. We're sending him to do an interview with OnlyFans girl.
He might be mad if we peddle that joke for too long and he doesn't get it. So we might need to scale the joke back. We can bring it back like in a week.
Strap up. Yeah. He should be back on Thursday as well as the rest of us. And we'll talk more position preview. We'll have some, fall camp updates, I'm sure. More baseballs are tearing it up and, single A, double A, triple A. So, love to see that. And we're bringing the boat in, and we out.